Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is our week 3 lecture 2. In this week, at the end of this week, inshallah, we will close up with the energy method. So before that, we have used Newton method in order to solve the mass spring system, simple pendulum, torsional vibration systems. We have solved some of the numerical problems. Most of the vibration analysis systems that depends upon different dynamic conditions, we can find out their equation of motion and associated natural frequencies with the help of three most useful methods. One of them is Newton method, second is energy method, and third is Rayleigh's method. So inshallah, in coming week we will go for Rayleigh's method. In the previous weeks we have studied Newton method, and in this class inshallah we will go for the energy method. So why we need to use energy method and what is its importance as compared to the Newton method? So we can easily see that there are some of the systems in which most of the energy elements and that are the combination of the mass spring systems and rotational and vibrating systems. So whenever we have a complex behavior of mechanical structures, so we need to solve them with more supportive techniques. In previous cases we have the simplest method, so those were the simplest cases, but in some of the actual numerical problems we have to deal with the bodies. For example, that may consist of the mass elements that can store kinetic energy. In the system there may be some kind of elastic energy storage element, for example kind of spring, and there may be some kind of translating body, for example mass, and there may be some kind of rotational element, for example disk. So it may be possible that one element can translate as well as rotate and other element can only translate. So this complex behavior of motion can also be solved using Newton method, but it will be quite difficult to resolve all the masses into their respective force components, and in order to find the equation of motion, and then this will help us to find the natural frequency. So this is the one of the most useful method known as energy method. As the name indicates, according to the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. So this law will be the main potential of this vibration modeling system. So according to energy method, it is known as a method in which we take that sum of all the energies, sum of all possible type of energies that are associated with the system remains constant. Now what kind of energies a system can be associated with? For example, if we have a mass spring system, the simplest example is mass spring system. So we have a mass and a spring element. So what is the possible kind of energy that can be from mass? Mass can store kinetic form of energy, people know. And what kind of energy we can assume that a spring will store? It will be a kind of potential energy. So what will happen? Initially body is in rest, and when an external or excitation force will act upon mass, so that excitation force will be stored in this vibrating element that consists of a mass and a spring. So the applied excitation force will be converted into the kinetic energy of the mass. So that mass will be displaced from the mean position, and when it will go from mean position to the straight position, then at that position, because elastic element is fully straight, so at that point kinetic energy of a body will go to zero and it will be totally converted into the potential energy. When our body will move from mean position to a stream position, its kinetic energy will convert from its form to the potential energy, and at a stream position potential energy will be maximum and kinetic energy will be zero. Now when body will move from a stream position to mean position, and what will happen? Again potential energy of body will convert to the kinetic energy. So at the mean position, now kinetic energy of the body will be maximum and potential energy of the body will be zero. So this is the case to consider. If we have two major elements of a vibrating system, for example mass and a spring. In most of the vibration systems we have three main elements. For example, one will be mass, other will be a spring element, and third element will be the damping element. Why we need to use the damping element? We people know that we have a energy that is converting from one form to another. For example, a system will be continuously vibrating. If we have a mass spring system, kinetic energy will convert into potential energy, and potential energy will convert into the kinetic energy. So we need to use a damping element because it will dissipate energy. How it will dissipate energy? Because it provides an force that is against the motion of the body. So that opposite force that is applied by the damping element against the motion of the body is applied by the damping element. So obviously it will depends upon the damping coefficient of that damper, how much force is applied. So damping force of a body will depends upon damping coefficient as well as associated velocity of the fluid. So this third element is damping element. So in major cases we consider that all the three elements are present, and what will happen in the presence of third element, for example damper? Now energy will convert from kinetic to potential energy or potential to kinetic energy, but and in addition to this phenomena energy will also dissipate. Why? Because damping is provide an opposition force towards the motion of the element, and a time will come when body will comes to the static case or rest. So this is the vibration modeling by energy method. In this method we can see that sum of all energies that associated with the particular system will remain constant. Now assume example, suppose we have a mass spring system, and in case of mass spring system energy that is associated with the mass will be a energy that associated with mass is kinetic energy, and energy that will be associated with the elastic element or spring element will be a potential energy, and energy that will be associated with the damping element will be a damping energy or damping force. So there will be total of three kind of forces. One will be the inertial force, that is because of mass and it can store kinetic energy. Another force is damping force and it can dissipate energy, and third element that is elastic element and it can store potential energy. So in this case we can see that for a particular mass spring system the sum of kinetic and potential energy will remains constant, and if we will take derivative of this element t plus u is equal to constant, where what is t? T is a kinetic energy, and what is u? U is a potential energy. So sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, we will take the individual derivatives and it will be equal to 0, and from that we can derive equation of motion, and from that equation of motion we can derive natural frequency of that particular body. In conservative system the total energy is constant, and the differential equation of the motion can also be established by the principle of conservation of energy. For the free vibration of an undamped system, the energy is partially kinetic and partially potential. The kinetic energy T is the kinetic energy T is stored in the mass by virtue of its velocity, and energy that is U is stored in the form of strain energy or potential energy or elastic deformation. So the total energy being constant and its rate of change is 0. Total energy will remain constant and its rate of change is 0, as is illustrated in the following equations. So this is one of the numerical problem that is associated with the energy method. So we people know that in this vibrating system we have a elastic element or spring element that have a stiffness of K1, and that is connected with the disc of external dia R and internal dia R1, and polar moment and moment of inertia of the disc is J1. So this small disc of radius R1 is connected with the translation mass m0. So what will happen? We can see that this elastic element is connected directly with the larger disc and indirectly with the smaller disc. Radius of larger disc is R, capital R, and radius of the smaller disc is small r1. So moment of inertia of this disc is whole represented as J1. So one thing that we can assume for this disc element, for both of these disc elements that are connected upon each other, we can assume that that in this case what will happen? In this case we can say that angular deformation will be same for both bodies. Linear velocity will be different for both of them and it will depend upon the corresponding radius, but angular deformation or angular displacement will be the same. So this small disc is connected with the translation mass m0 whose translational velocity is x0. This translation mass is further connected with the smaller disc of radius r2 and mass m2 having moment of inertia j2, and that is further connected with the another elastic element having stiffness k2, and that is then connected with the fixed port. So we can see total number of elements that are present in this vibrating system. We can see that there are total number of, and this is first element and this is second element. So total potential elements or elastic energy elements are 2, for example K1 and K2. Total number of springs are 2. So there are two possible type of energies, one is potential energy and other is kinetic energy. In this system potential energy will be because of the element K1, spring element K1 and spring element K2. So these two spring elements will be responsible for the potential energy, and in case of the kinetic energy, now we will see what will happen. Because kinetic energy is associated with the mass of the body, we people know, and body can either translate or rotate. So if body is translating, energy associated with it will be a kinetic energy, and if either it is rotating or translating, it is overall a kinetic energy. So we can see number of possible type of energies that are associated with the kinetic energy. So possible type of elements that are associated with the kinetic energy are, for example this disc element and this translating mass, and again this disc element. So it is quite visible that now we can solve this system with the analytical modeling, and we will find the equation of motion and as well as the associated natural frequencies. So first of all I will theoretically describe the possible type of energies that are associated, and then inshallah we will go for solving that problem analytically. So here we can see, consider that we are going for the vibration analysis of a particular vibrating system, and we can solve it number of methods, but most useful in most of the cases are Newton method or energy method or Rayleigh's method. So we have solved Newton method in previous weeks, and today we will go for the energy method, and inshallah in coming weeks we will go for the Rayleigh's method. So I want to define about energy method. We people have already defined that what is energy method. In this case we have assumed that there are quite possible the possible type of elements that are associated with the vibrating element. For example, if the vibrating element consists of a mass and spring element and damping element, then energy associated with mass will be energy that will be associated with mass will be kinetic energy, and energy that will be associated with the spring element will be potential energy, and energy that is dissipating because of damping element will be actually a heat energy. So why heat energy? Because it is providing an opposition force towards the motion of body, so energy will dissipate. So we have possible type of the forces that are associated with the vibrating element. If a body is free vibrating system, for free vibrating system, if body is vibrating freely, no external force is continuously acting upon the body. So what will happen? It will consist of three possible type of forces. First force will be associated with the mass. Second force will be associated with the damping, and third force will be associated with the spring, and that will equal to 0. So possible kind of structure or vibrating system that will be associated with such kind of system will be, suppose this is a spring element that has friction K, suppose this is a damping element that have a damping coefficient C, and that are connected with the mass M. So this equation is defined for this mass spring system where we have a damping element as well. So what will happen? Force that is associated will be with the mass is kinetic energy. So how we can go for that? Force that will be responsible for spring will be a potential energy, and this will be a heat energy force. So this heat energy, we need to know that how we can convert all of them in possible type of forces. So we can write mx double dot plus cx naught plus kx is equal to 0. So this is the force that is associated with mass, and that is equal to mx double dot. This is the force that is associated with the damping element, and it depends upon coefficient of damping and associated fluid velocity. This is the force that is associated with the stiffness element, and it depends upon value of stiffness of that elastic body. So this is the free vibrating system, we can see it. Now we will go for the possible type of energies that are associated with the particular kind of vibrating system. Suppose we have a mass spring system that is at rest initially, and an excitation force is acting upon it, that is mx double dot, and this is the mass. It has initial position, and what happened after that? This is the B position. In this case, mass is straight from the initial position, and this is its final position. And what happened in third case C? Now this body is returning back to the equilibrium position. So difference between these three cases. This is the initial case. Initial case, kinetic energy is stored in the mass because of the application of external excitation force. So in this case, which energy will be maximum? Initially, kinetic energy will be maximum and potential energy will be 0. So this is the extreme position. Extreme position. In this case, we people can see that kinetic energy is converted into potential energy. So what happened? kinetic energy in this case at extreme position is 0 and potential energy is maximum. And again when body will return to the mean position, again we can see here that kinetic energy will be go for maximum and potential energy will be 0. And in case between these, for example, if mass is at this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, we can see kinetic energy will be converting towards potential energy and so on. And here it will be a point where kinetic energy will be 0 and potential energy will be maximum. And when it will go back, here we have a certain value of kinetic and potential energy, both values are present here, here, and again at the mean position, now it is only kinetic energy that is maximum, potential energy will be go to 0. And now we will go for the energy method. What is energy method? According to energy method, we people have a fundamental rule of law of conservation of energy. For example, all energies that are associated with the vibrating system, all energies associated with vibrating system. So suppose this is the mass spring element that is displaced from the mean position with the application of an external force, Suppose this mass is displaced from the mean position with the application of external force, then what will happen? Because we people know that when the mass will be in mean position, kinetic energy will be maximum, potential energy will be 0, and when this mass will be at this state, we people have at maximum, where maximum potential energy will be stored within the spring, then potential energy will be maximum, kinetic energy will be 0. Then all the possible kind of energies that are associated with this kind of vibrating system, that is kinetic energy and potential energy, that will be constant. According to the energy method, sum of all the energies that are associated with the particle vibrating body will remain constant. So these are two possible kind of energies that are associated with the vibrating element, and it will remain constant. And if we will take rate of change of the energies, it will be 0. So when we will check that what is the rate of change of energy between these two elements, so this constant term will go for 0, and in this way we can solve this equation to derive equation of motion of a particular vibrating system, and from that equation of motion of a particular vibrating system we can derive its natural frequency and other dynamic possibilities that are associated with the body. So now we have to define, suppose this is a mass spring system, and we have to solve it for the equation of motion and its natural frequency. So case 1, suppose this is a case 1 that is associated with the mass spring system. In this case we have a mass that is suspended from the spring element that can store strain energy having stiffness K, and possible type of energies that are associated with this kind of a mass spring system will be kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy plus potential energy will remain constant. And now what will be kinetic energy? Kinetic energy of this mass spring system. What will be kinetic energy of this mass spring system? Suppose an excitation force is acting on it. We have assumed that excitation force is acting upon it. So that will be stored in the mass element in the form of kinetic energy. That's why it is displaced from the mean position. So we have to find what will be the kinetic energy here and what will be the potential energy here. So kinetic energy of this mass spring system will be kinetic energy of this mass spring system, M for mass and S for system. So it will be half m v square, that can be denoted as S naught square. This is the kinetic energy of this mass spring system. Okay, and what will be, so remove this term, simply consider it as a kinetic energy. The kinetic energy half m S naught square. And what will be potential energy? We people know potential energy will be stored within the elastic element. So we have potential energy. How we can calculate the energy that is stored within the elastic element? Consider a simple derivation. Suppose we have a spring. On that spring element we are applying a force. Whenever we apply a force on that particular spring system, then what will happen? If it is behaving linearly, this is the very essential condition, that if this spring will behave linearly, and what will happen? It will produce deformation. That will be across x-axis and applied force will be across the y-axis. So what will be the possible kind of energy that will be stored within this force displacement graph? This is the possible kind of energy that is stored within the force displacement graph, and that is actually potential energy. So what is the possible kind of a potential energy that will be stored within this rectangle shape? We people know that it is a rectangle shape, and we can calculate its force displacement form of energy as half m, because we people know that W is equal to F x. और इस चीज को जो है आप लोगों ने एफएससी में ड्राइव किया होगा. So we are considering it half. Why? Because it is a rectangle shape. So work done is equal to area under force displacement graph. So 1/2 is because it is of a rectangular shape. Why rectangular shape? Because spring is behaving linearly. So if spring is behaving linearly, then what will be its potential energy? That will be half into Fx. And what will be F? We people know that F is equal to Kx. So half Kx square. Half Kx square. This will be a potential energy. So in simple words, what is kinetic energy that is associated with this mass? It will be a half mv square. And what will be potential energy? It will be half Kx square. We all people know that. So these are possible kind of kinetic and potential energies that are associated with this mass spring system. So we will add both of them. Suppose this is 1, suppose this is 2. Adding 1 and 2, they will remain constant. So half m x naught square plus half k x square, it will remain constant. So now why we are going to get the change of the energy? Because it will help us to drive for the relation of motion. So getting rate of change. So I am doing it here directly. What will happen? We will get m x naught x double dot, and this 2 term will come here, that will cancel with it. We can simply take derivative with respect to the variable x. So this will be k x x naught, that will equal to 0, and we can write it as mx double dot plus kx into x. into x naught. So I have taken common x naught. So this is the main product rule. We people know that these two terms are coming in product. So ms double dot plus kx whole bracket into x naught is equal to 0. So according to this, one of the both quantity will be 0, and then we will consider that complete system. Then we can easily understand the complete system. So what will happen? We will consider that, because we know that associated velocity of the body, that is x naught, it can be 0 or not, because we are applying an excitation force. So associated velocity of the body cannot be 0, and it can never be 0. So the possible kind of term that can be 0 is ms double dot plus kx is equal to 0, or we can write it as s double dot plus k over m into x is equal to 0. S double dot plus k over m into x is equal to 0, and again we can write it as s double dot plus omega n square into x is equal to 0. Why? Because we people already know that rotational natural frequency of body is square root of k over m having unit radians per second, and natural frequency has 1 over 2 pi square root of k over m. What is k? K is stiffness of a spring. What is m? M is the mass of the vibrating element. So we have calculated the associated natural frequencies with this mass spring system with the help of a mass, with the help of a energy method. So and we have found the natural frequency. Now suppose a case we are going to apply a simple harmonic motion. Simple harmonic motion for the case of mass spring system. So what will happen? Consider that the vibrating element have a simple harmonic motion. To find out the equation, general solution to the equation of motion. So x of t is equal to a sine omega t. Suppose this is the simple harmonic motion. X of t is equal to a sine omega t, that is associated with this mass spring system, where t is time, x of t is the response of the vibrating system, a is the associated amplitude, omega is the natural frequency, t is again time. So we will take its one time derivative, and it will be a omega sine omega t, and again we will take second derivative, so it will be a minus a omega square cos omega t. Now we people know that we have x of t, x naught of t, and s double dot of t. So we have all possible kind of derivatives, and we can put them in equation of motion that is derived here. So what is equation of motion? We people know that ms double dot plus kx is equal to 0. So I will put these associated SHM motion. So I have m into what is s double dot minus a omega square cos omega t plus k into x. What is x? We have x of t is equal to a sine omega t, that is equal to a sine omega t, and that is equal to 0. Now we people can see that we have put out the value of the displacement and acceleration terms. So we have now equation of motion that is turned into this form. Sorry, this was the cos omega t, a omega cos omega t, because derivative of sin omega t is cos omega t. Again cos is sin omega t. So this will be sin omega t. So in this case we people can see that some of the terms that can cancel with each other are a. So what will happen? We people know that also omega t will cancel with each other, and we people have m omega square minus m omega square plus k equals 0, and we people have omega is equal to k over m. So this is the rotational natural frequency that was considered to be square root of k over m, and we have derived it with the help of a simple harmonic motion. And by considering the simple harmonic motion of this vibrating body and putting the boundary conditions within the equation of motion, we have derived the natural frequency. So possible kind of rotation natural frequency is k over m radians per second, and we can write it as call it natural frequency. So n f of n is equal to 1/2 pi square root of k over m, and its value will be in hertz or cycles per second. So from the above derivation, we people know that we have derived the case in which we have assumed a simple harmonic motion of a vibrating mass spring system. We have derived equation of motion, and finally natural frequency of the vibrating body. Now using the energy method, we will solve one of the complex numerical problem. This is the exercise problem number 2.32, and in this numerical problem we can see that I have already explained the possible components. For example, this system consists of two elastic elements having stiffness K1 and K2. These are the elastic elements, and what are the possible type of masses? And this is the mass. We can consider it as a disk. It consists of two radius. Both discs are attached to each other. One disc is of small radius, that is of R1. Another disc that is of large radius is of radius capital R, and both discs are attached to each other. So we are considering this whole body as a one mass, and this is the another mass that is translating, and its value is m0, and this is the another mass of a disc having radius R2 and mass m2 and moment of inertia j2. Now we people know that it is quite difficult to solve this numerical problem using Newton method. Why Newton method? Because we have to derive all the kinds of associated forces for each of the element, and then we have to equate them for the equation of motion, and it will be quite difficult. But in this case we will use the energy method, and we will see how this process is helpful in order to find out the equation of motion and natural frequency of the system. So let's start. So first of all, we will define associated potential energies of a body. Associated potential energy of body is because of two elements, that is K1 and K2. Two spring elements having stiffness K1 and K2. So potential energy is just because of these elastic elements having stiffness K1 and K2. And what about kinetic energy? In case of kinetic energy, we people know that it is of two types. It is of two main types. One is translational kinetic energy, and other is rotational kinetic energy. Because in this case we can see we have a translational mass in some case, and we have a rotational disk as well. So translational kinetic energy. So we will see associated translational case. For example, and this mass is translating. For example, this mass is translating. Again we can see that this disk can translate as well as rotate, and this disk we can see it can only rotate because it is connected at both ends with the help of a string. This is a string element. String element, stiffness element. Again string is looped here and then looped here, and then it is attached here. So this mass is just fixed here. It have a no base port, so it can only rotate. It cannot translate. This thing can translate only, and this thing can translate only. So possible kind of translational motions is because of mass m0. It is because of mass m0 and disk m2. So translation kinetic energy will be because of mass m0 and disk mass m2, and rotational kinetic energy is associated with the disk having moment of inertia j1 and disk having moment of inertia j2. So we know that translation kinetic energy is because of the two elements, rotational kinetic energy is because of the two elements. So total kinetic energy elements that are contributing towards the total kinetic energy are major four basic four kinetic energy elements that will add with each other for the total kinetic energy. In case of potential energy, two of them will add, and in case of kinetic energy, four of them will add. So let's solve it for the potential energy in first case. So first case, in first case we have potential energy. So potential energy of this body will be potential energy that is equal to we know this is a spring element, this is also spring element, so we can write half K1. Why K1? First of all, I am writing it for the spring element because it has a spring stiffness K1. Potential energy is equal to half K1 into x1 square y x1 square. We people know that actual translational velocity is x naught, and when it will reach at this point, we people know that this translation velocity is first converted by this disk of small dia r1, and then it will be converted with the dia of capital R of this disk of radius capital R, and finally we have a velocity at this point. So it will be converted in converted form. For example, here it is x naught, and suppose here it is x1 naught. We have supposed value because we do not know actual value, but value of the velocity that will be at this point will be different than at this point. And again, similarly in this case, we can see this is a second potential element K2, and force and the velocity that will be reaching at this point will be, because it is s naught and then it is connected with the disk, and finally it is coming here. So because it is connected with the disk, so this velocity will be converted here, and then it will reach here. So suppose it is x2 naught. Okay, so I will represent it as half k1 x1 square plus half k2 x2 square. So these are the possible kind of potential energies that are associated with both of the elements. Now need is to convert this force component x1 and s2 into either rotational component or rotational component, but variable should be same. For example, if I will convert this equation into rotational element, so variable that will be theta, it should be same on both sides. It should be theta on both sides. It should not be like theta 1 here and theta 2 here. It will not be correct. So we have to create the variables. So in this case, we want to create these are the variables. So what we have to do, we people can convert and that velocity, that displacement with the actual displacement. So how we can compare? Because we know that velocity is increasing or decreasing because of the associated disks having particular dia. So is there any relation that can compare the values of the rotational and translational elements with the radius of the disk? Yes, we have. We have associated formula since x is equal to r theta, where x is displacement, r is the radius, and theta is the angular displacement. And in this case, we can again see that if it is x1, then what we can write it as, it will be x1 is equal to r1 theta 1, r1 theta 1. So what will be r1? Because we people know that we are comparing s equal to r theta, we want to calculate x1, and x1 is going from the larger radius, capital R radius. So we will use capital R into theta 1. Okay, so we have replaced small r with capital R, and this is theta 1, this is x1. How? Again, please see, we people know that x is equal to r theta, x is equal to r theta. This is a general formula that relate linear displacement with the angular displacement, where r is the radius of the body, and we want to convert this formula for this case for the x1 element. And for x1 element, we people know that the extended or compressed length that will be increased or decreased will be x1 is equal to capital R theta 1. Why capital R and why not R1? Your question will be, we people are using capital R, but why not R1? Because this spring is directly attached with the disc of larger diameter capital R. So that's why we are considering here capital R and theta 1 here. Theta 1, why? Because angular displacement of this disc will be R theta 1. And similarly for the case 2, what will be? S2 is equal to, now we can see this is the actual actual velocity, and it is correlating with the radius of the disc, and then finally it is reaching at this point. So we can again correlate for the displacement as S2 is equal to R2 into theta 2. Why R2? Because this disc has a radius R2. And why theta 2? Because it has an angular displacement theta 2. So we will replace these elements in this equation, and finally we have potential energy is equal to half K1, and what we have S1, that is R theta 1 square plus half K2 into what is S2 square, that is R2 theta 2 square. So what we have half K1 R square theta 1 square plus half K2 R2 square theta 2 square. Now we can see that these translational elements that were S1 and S2 are now converted into the rotational element theta 1 and theta 2. But again we can see that variable theta is same, but what is different, that it is belonging with different component theta 1 and theta 2. Why? Because we people know, suppose we have 2 points. One is located here on the larger disk, and one is located on the smaller disk. And what will happen when this will rotate? Then these both points will rotate with same angular velocity. So we can compare these radius with same angular velocity. So let's solve it. For that, we people know that this is theta 1 and this is theta 2, and we want to solve the angular motion to convert into the displacement motion. Why we people are converting angular motion into displacement element? Because that displacement velocity will be of the same variable, and both variables will become x square. We do not need S1 and S2. We do not need theta 1 and theta 2. What we only need is that we need either theta on both elements or either x on both of the elements, because we know that now we can equate this equation further as, since this is theta 1, and now we can see that theta 1 velocity that is associated with this case, we can find it as associated displacement as theta 1 is equal to now we can correlate it with smaller radius R1, and what will happen? Can we write theta 1 as x over r? Again formula is same, x equal to r theta. So what I have replaced, I have just replaced theta 1 with x over r1. Why? Because we people know that this velocity that is x naught is directly associated with this mass m naught, and that is directly associated with this disk of radius r1. So velocity that is on the point of tangential point of the disk having radius r1, it will be different from the disk that will be associated with the capital radius r. So what we have actually done, we have done the difference within the displacement. We have done displacement within the both cases with the help of a particular radius relations. So why this velocity was changing, or why this displacement was changing, both of them were changing just because of the radius of the disk. So we have included the relation for the radius. In this way we can equate the system for the same velocity. So using this relation here, theta 1, what will be for theta 2? For theta 2 we will have x over r2. Why? Again we can see that angular velocity will be same for both disks. So theta 2 will be x, that will be the displacement because of this angular velocity, and r2 is the radius of that disk. So this is for the second element, this is for the first element. We will put it here, that is half k1 capital R square. What is theta 1? That is x divided by small r1 whole square plus half k2 r2 square. What is theta 2? We have x divided by r2 square. So we have both of the terms available here. Now we will equate them, and we have half. इसको हम ऐसे करते हैं कि ले लेते हैं कॉमन. So we have half k1 capital R square divided by small r1 square plus k2 r2 square divided by r2 square brackets, and this will be x square. So this will be x square, and what will happen, we can cancel these both radius with each other, and finally we have potential energy of this system as potential energy that is equal to half k1 r1 square over small r1 square plus k2 that is x square. So this is the potential energy that is associated with both of the stiffness elements. Now we will go for the rotational kinetic energy and translational kinetic energy. Now so now we will go for the kinetic energy case. So second case is the kinetic energy case. So we will solve it here. Second case, we have to calculate total kinetic energy. So kinetic energy that will be associated in this system, and its total value will be आप बेशक यहाँ पे पोटेंशियल एनर्जी के यहाँ पे जो है वो टोटल लिख लें, TOTL total. So what will be total kinetic energy? Total kinetic energy will be because of the two translational components and two rotational components. So what are the two possible kind of two translational components? That is this mass m naught and this rotational element. So we can write it as, what is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is equal to half m x naught square. So half m naught x naught square. So good news is that in this case for translation element we have velocity x naught. So we do not need to convert that velocity into any other component because it is not affected by any of the radius. Again we have derived this potential energy where this displacement was not affected by any of the radius, but x1 and s2 both were affected by radius. So that's why we have converted it into the another x that have no effect of the radius of the disk. However, we can convert these displacement components x1 and s2 into same variable theta सो यहाँ पे हम सेम वेरिएबल थीटा के लिए भी एक्वेट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसमें फिर यह है कि यहाँ से थोड़ा सा इक्वेशन का मोड चेंज करना होगा. सो हाउ वी कैन सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम with the help of a rotational element. So that problem will be uploaded. So ये complete problem जो अभी मैं solve कर रहा हूँ, इसको हम जो है वो ट्रांसलेशनल एलिमेंट से सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. अगर इस कंप्लीट एलिमेंट को जो आप जो कन्वर्ट करते हैं रोटेशनल एलिमेंट में, तो उस केस में कैसे सॉल्व होगा, तो उसका जो सोल्यूशन है वो मैं जो है वो अपलोड कर दूंगा. अभी हम ट्रांसलेशन केस के लिए जस्ट देख रहे हैं. सो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट एलिमेंट, ट्रांसलेशन एलिमेंट, दैट इज m naught. So this is the another translational element, that is the rotating disk that have a mass m2. So we have half m2 into x naught square, and again we people know that this mass m naught and this disk of mass m2 are both connected with each other, and there is no any other element in between them. So velocity for both of these elements will be same, and that is x naught. So I have written here x naught. Again there is no need to convert this element x naught. And what is the difference? So these both are actually the translational kinetic energy elements. Translational kinetic energy, TKE. I am writing it as TKE, translational kinetic energy. And now we will write for the rotational kinetic energy. Rotational kinetic energy is because of this disk and this disk. So we have half J1 that is associated with this whole disk, and theta 1 naught square plus half J2 theta naught 2 square. So this is the kinetic energy that is associated with the rotational element. For example, both of the disks. So I am writing it as RKE. RKE means rotational kinetic energy. So again, in this case, we can see that we have rotational. So we have a rotational element, and theta 1 and theta 2 and velocity components are in the form of theta 1 and theta 2 naught. So we need to convert these velocity elements independent of the radius of these disks. So if we want to get rid of the radius of the disk because they are changing the velocity, and we want to convert these theta 1 element and theta 2 naught element into the x naught element. So we people simply know that we have already derived an equation here. So we can see it can be written as half m naught x naught square plus half m2 x naught square. So this term, these two terms for the translation kinetic energy will remain same, and we have to change these terms. For example, half J1. So theta 1 naught, how we can find out the theta 1 naught? We want to find theta 1 naught in terms of x naught. So theta 1 naught will be x over x naught over r square, और r जो होगा ये r1 होगा आपका यहाँ पे. Are you people agreeing with me? So velocity that is associated with this disk of radius r1. So I have converted it for the case of theta 1 naught. So we can replace theta 1 naught with x naught over r1 square. Question is why we have written r1 small r1 square here. We can write capital no need for the square. The formula is x is equal to r theta. Question is why we people have written a small r1 here, and we can write capital R. But why we have used small r1? Because we people know that r1 is directly attached with the translating mass m naught that have velocity s naught. And if we want to use capital R, then we have to include the effect of r1 as well. Because if we are considering velocity here, then we first have to consider the velocity component here, and then we can go here. So it will be quite difficult. So I have directly used the conversion term for theta 1 naught for the smaller disk and taking the radius for the smaller disk. So this is very simple concept. You people are already familiar from the concepts of the dynamic of machinery. So half J1 x naught our r1 whole term square plus half j2. So also we people know that theta 2 naught will equal to x naught over r2. Why? Because this is for the second disk that have a radius r2. So I have converted the rotational displacement into the rotational velocity, and y2 because it is for the second mass. So half j2 x naught divided by r2 whole square. Now please separate out all the terms. We people have total kinetic energy as total kinetic energy. Kinetic energy and this T for total, that is equal to, please separate out all the associated terms, and we people have half will be common from all of them. We have m naught plus m2 plus j1 over r1 square, that is small r1 square, plus j2 over small r2 square, and at the end we have a common term of x naught square that is associated with the square of the velocity. So this is your total kinetic energy. So consider this is your equation 1, and consider it as this is your equation number 2. So we have both equations, equation number 1 and equation number 2, and now we can solve it for the total energy that is associated with the system, and it will remain constant. So what will happen? We will simply add up both the terms. So adding kinetic energy and potential energy, and we will have a constant term. So adding both of them, we will have a constant term. Now changing, now we want to find the change. So take the derivative, and we will have d by dt into kinetic energy plus potential energy, that will be equal to 0. Now what will happen? We have to take the derivative of both sum of kinetic and potential energy. So we will take derivative of these both terms separately. So I want to write it on the other side of the board. So I will solve it here. I will keep it left. I will left this equation for total potential energy and total kinetic energy, so that we can easily solve the problem by rewriting the equations. So we have potential energy, taking the derivative of d by dt, taking derivative of, first we have kinetic energy. What is kinetic energy? That is half m naught plus m2 plus j1 over r1 square plus j2 over r2 square. So that is equal to x square. So this is the one term that is associated with the kinetic energy plus, now we will write down the term that is associated with the potential energy. So I think I should remove the figure as well. What is potential energy? We have potential energy of half K1 capital R1 square or small r1 square plus K2 into x square. So these are the both terms, and we will associate and take derivative of the sum of the both. So taking the derivatives, we people have simply this is half and this is the square. People know they both will cancel with each other. So what we have, we people have, first of all write that this term is because of a kinetic energy, and this term is because of the potential energy. So taking derivatives, we people have m naught plus m2 plus j1 over r1 square plus j2 over r2 square, and 2 will cancel with this, and we have x and x naught here. This was x naught. Why? Because it is a kinetic energy, so we have a square and not square here. So this will be this, and this will be double and dot plus, here we have k1 r1, capital R1 square divided by small r1 square plus k2, and again here we have this is x square, so it will be left with x and x naught. So this will equal to 0, and after this we will take the common terms, and m naught plus m2 plus j1 over r1 square plus j2 over r2 square. So this is one thing, x double dot plus k r1, capital R1 square divided by small r1 square plus k2, and this is the simple x. And what is the common? I have taken common of the term, that is x naught, that is x naught, and that is equal to 0. So two cases are here, either this term will go to 0, either this whole term will go to 0, or this term will go to 0. So which case is possible? We people know that we have a product rule. Suppose this whole term is A and this term is B, so AB is equal to 0. We people know B is the element that is associated with the velocity, and we know that velocity of the body is not 0 here. Why? Because we have been provided with the translation velocity x naught, so velocity is not 0. So we will ignore this case, because why? Because this thing cannot be equal to 0. So because velocity of the element is not equal to 0 and it cannot be equal to 0, then big term can be equal to 0. We people have m naught plus m2 plus j1 over small r1 square plus j2 over small r2 square, and this term will be with s double dot and plus k capital R1 square divided by small r1 square plus k2, that will be with x. This thing will be equal to 0, and this thing will be equal to 0. So these are the both equations that we have derived from the equation of motion. So this is the actual equation of motion. Equation of motion we were searching for. This is the equation of motion for this system, and we can find out response of this equation of motion as we have discussed earlier cases. So suppose this whole element that is with s double dot, it is the total mass that includes translation and moments of inertia, and suppose this is the stiffness that includes the radius effect as well. So what we have to do, suppose this is the total mass, suppose this term is equal to mt, suppose this whole mass term is equal to mt, and this whole stiffness term is equal to kt. So what we have equation of mt x double dot plus kt into x is equal to 0. So I have replaced this whole thing with mt and this whole thing with kt. So now it is easy to solve this equation of motion. So this is your equation of motion, and how we can find its natural frequency? We can find its natural frequency as dividing the term mt throughout, because we want to get independent angular acceleration term that will actually independent acceleration term that will actually give us the value of rotation natural frequency. So kt over mt into x is equal to 0, and that is s double dot plus omega n square into x is equal to 0. So we can see that what is rotation natural frequency of this body, and when we will convert this rotation natural frequency of body into into the actual natural frequency, that is Fn. So we have Fn is equal to 1 by 2 pi, 1 by 2 pi into square root of kT over mt, square root of kT over mt. So what is Fn? So finally we have Fn is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi into square root of, so what is kT? So we have kT, that is written here as k capital R1 square and divided by small r1 square plus k2. So this is the kt, so this is kt. And what is mt? Now we will go for the mt. What is mt? Mt is equal to m0 plus m2 plus j1 our r1 square plus j2 our r2 square. So this is your mt, and this is the whole natural frequency that will be in hertz or cycles per second. So we can see that we have find out the natural frequency of that complex system that consists of number of bodies attached with each other with the help of elastic elements, even it consists of a translational and rotating elements. So we have find out its natural frequency. So I am writing that natural frequency here. If you people have any problem in understanding, so final natural frequency that we have calculated is here. Fn is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi capital K capital R1 square divided by small r1 square plus K2. This thing divided by m0 plus m2 plus j1 square divided by, so it is j1 divided by r1 square plus j2 divided by r2 square, and this is the square root of this whole term, and we have to find Fn, that is Fn is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi, and it will be in hertz. So what actually we have concluded till now, that natural frequency of that complex system depends upon the stiffness of both cases. For example, what is value of k1 value we can find, और जो न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम में आपको गिवन हो सकती है. So we can get the value of k1 from the numerical data, we can get the value of k2 from the numerical data, we can find out the radius of the smaller and larger disks, capital small r1 and capital R1 from the numerical data as well. In addition, we can also have the given mass of a translation body m0 and translating body that was also rotating m2, and also movement of inertia of the first rotating element and second rotating elements were given. So we have all of these parameters known. Now from all of these known parameters we can find the natural frequency of that complex system. So I hope so from the today lecture you people have learned a lot about the energy method. So how to solve the energy method. In addition, I will share that problem with the, in addition I will share that problem with another method. For example, this is the energy method, and in this method we have assumed that we have converted the translation velocity components or displacement velocity components into a single component, because initially they were split into two because of the presence of the disk. So we have calculated the effect of the disk, and finally we have converted that translational component displacement of velocity into the actual displacement of velocity. So we have equated the equation, and in addition we can also solve this whole numerical by equating this numerical by considering the rotational effect. And again, if we will consider the rotational effect, so we have to consider how the radius of the disks are affecting each other velocities. And so finally procedure will be the same. First of all, you people will find out the kinetic energy, and then we will find the potential energy, and then we will add with each other, and finally we will have a equation of motion, and from that we have a natural frequency. So I hope so you people are well familiar with today lecture. Inshallah, in coming lectures, we will go for the Rayleigh's method. How this method is helpful for calculating the natural frequencies of complex structures. So please take care. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is our week 3 lecture 2. In this week, at the end of this week, inshallah, we will close up with the energy method. So before that, we have used Newton method in order to solve the mass spring system, simple pendulum, torsional vibration systems. We have solved some of the numerical problems. Most of the vibration analysis systems that depends upon different dynamic conditions, we can find out their equation of motion and associated natural frequencies with the help of 3 most useful methods. One of them is Newton method, second is energy method, and third is Rayleigh's method. So inshallah, in coming week we will go for Rayleigh's method. In the previous weeks we have studied Newton method, and in this class inshallah we will go for the energy method. So why we need to use energy method and what is its importance as compared to the Newton method? So we can easily see that there are some of the systems in which most of the energy elements and that are the combination of the mass spring systems and rotational and vibrating systems. So whenever we have a complex behavior of mechanical structures, so we need to solve them with more supportive techniques. In previous cases we have the simplest method, so